Well, the Warriors remain undefeated at home. A beautiful victory, a redemption type game over the Utah Jazz to make up for that disaster in Utah a month or so ago. I'm Cyrus Saatsaz. I'm hosting a show tonight. Celebratory mood. The Warriors are now 3-0 at home. They're back to 500. The bench looks good. Let's break it all down next. This is Locked On Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. You can follow me, Cyrus Saatsaz, on Twitter at DogSurfRoadshow. Welcome to the party. That was a hell of a game. The Warriors defeating the Utah Jazz 112-107, hosting a live show tonight. It is, what day is today? I'm losing track of time. It's Wednesday, December 28th. Andre, welcome to the program. He says Ty Jerome's IQ is off the charts. I got to give Ty Jerome a lot of love. He was huge tonight. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that everything I've ever criticized Jerome about is wrong and it's off, because what I still need to see from a player like Ty Jerome is success on the road. All right. Like I try not to overreact to one game. This has been phenomenal. They're 3-0 on the road, but look, they're a 500 team. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program. But they remain the worst team on the road. Need to see it on the road before I'm 100% convinced. With that said, I'm sure as you know what, not going to hate on Ty Jerome. Let's start with him. The kid was unbelievable. I call him a kid. He's like 25, but Ty Jerome was fantastic. Finished the game for the Warriors. And he played a total of 30 minutes, 17 points, 7 rebounds. At times he was guarding Kelly Olynyk down in the low post, which is a huge task for him to bear defensively. The Jazz were routinely creating switches, forcing Jerome with these defensive mismatches. And for the most part, he held his own. I thought he was fantastic. He did good defensively, made clutch shots, everything that I've been critical of Jerome about, which was ill-timed missed shots, horrible defense, totally changed that tonight. So bravo to Ty Jerome. Good game for him. Now, with that said, again, if I pose this question to everyone in the chat, who would you rather have, Ty Jerome or Donte DiVincenzo? I hope you would still say DiVincenzo, but Ty Jerome is certainly earning a place on this roster now. I just need to see. We got 5 more games at home, and the fact that the Warriors are 2 entirely different teams at home and on the road is continually bizarre. So when the Warriors do eventually go back on the road, those are going to be huge tests. Now, the good news is I feel like this Warriors team is coming together at a beautiful time. We're about to enter January. We're about to get into the real nitty-gritty of the regular season. And the Warriors are figuring things out in terms of the bench. They're figuring things out in terms of not having their best players available. The Warriors beat a Utah Jazz team tonight, who, by the way, is still a half game ahead of them in the standings. And they beat them 112-107, made up for, again, that disaster a month ago in Utah, a game that the Warriors should have won. They had, like a 4-point lead with 8 seconds remaining, and it sucks even revisiting that game. But they won tonight without Steph and Curry. They won tonight without Andrew Wiggins, and they won tonight without Klay Thompson, who likely will not play back-to-backs all season long. Those are your three arguably best players on this roster. And the Warriors still won 112-107. So it was scary. Yeah, Mac Bolan writes, for example, you're a little scared in the last 5-minute mark. I don't blame you. That was sketchy. I certainly did not like every single time the Jazz rookie center, what's his name? Is it Kessler? Was it Walter Kessler? Is that his name? Yeah, Walker Kessler. I'm sorry. He was a pest. Kelly Olynyk is one of those players, in my humble opinion, who, if he's on your team, you probably love him. If he's not on your team, he's one of the most annoying players to watch on the floor. So that was a feel-good win. No doubt about it. I've been saying this a lot. The Warriors are going to have a very interesting conundrum at that 50-game mark. They have 14 of 15 roster spots secured, right? And Rebel, this sounds you're right. Everyone in here saying that Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb are deserving of praise. You're absolutely right. They play fantastic. Anthony Lamb came in for Jonathan Kuminga when he was fouled out, held his own. I hope some of you saw Lamb's one key weakness, which is his height. Kelly Olynyk was shooting over him left and right tonight. Most of his points came as a result of that. But Lamb was also making huge three-pointers. And for Gary or Jerry, I'm sorry, who writes, will he be available for the playoffs? That is the big question. At the 50-game mark for both these players, because that's the maximum number of games a two-way player can play for your team. The Warriors have a tough decision to make because, again, they have 14 roster spots secured. They have one open. So at the moment, the only thing they could do is offer either Ty Jerome or Anthony Lamb that 15th roster spot. I personally right now would give it to Ty Jerome over Anthony Lamb. I think with Anthony Lamb, he's more easily replaceable. Take tonight, for example, Patrick Baldwin Jr., who I'm absolutely going to touch on in just a second, was fantastic. And, I mean, his shot, folks, I mean, how excited, if you love the Warriors, if you're a Warriors fan, how excited are you that 5 years from now, we're going to have a veteran bunch of Kuminga, Moses Moody, who I wish we saw a little more of tonight. Moses Moody, based on everything, all the conversations and the narratives, grossly underrated right now. He's a great player. James Wiseman, who actually was another fantastic game from him, something that the stat sheet will not show you, but he made some clutch shots, played some great defense. He just looks huge out there. It's so nice seeing the Warriors have this large presence on the court with Wiseman. But then you're also going to have Patrick Baldwin Jr. 5 years from now. His shooting stroke, that is a beautiful thing to watch. If you're a basketball junkie like me, and I think everyone here, at least on the live show, is, that is poetry on a basketball court, seeing that kid shoot shots, man. That is just a marvelous shooting stroke. I don't know what else to say about that. Patrick Baldwin. So 5 years from now, this Warriors team, you're probably going to still have Steph playing. You're going to have the 3 lottery picks with 6-7 years of experience at that point. You're going to have Patrick Baldwin Jr. with 5 years of experience at this point. These two-way players are starting to win me over. Who knows what the future holds for them? But the Warriors right now, if they want to keep both these both these two-way players, they're going to have a big decision to make. And that big decision is, do we not keep one of these two, or do we have to release somebody on this roster to turn those two-way deals into guaranteed contracts? And heck yeah, W-Chan, let's effing go. You're damn right. So what I think logically makes the most sense is JaMychal Green is probably the odd man out right now. I don't see the Warriors making a decision on Andre Iguodala in terms of letting him go. I think the team has actually been planning for Iguodala to come into play in January, maybe February. I've been hearing January. So really what it comes down to is, okay, who are we going to cut if we want to keep both these players? And it's gonna have to be JaMychal Green. I really just don't know who else you can wave on this roster to make room for Jerome and for Lamb, but they're earning it. I mean, I still want to see it on the road, and it wouldn't surprise me if Bob Myers is thinking the same thing. But what these kids are doing, at least at home, is fantastic. Def Noodles writes JaMychal who? Yeah, he's been battling COVID, so that's the reason why he hasn't been playing lately. But I mean, right now, if you have to make a choice between either JaMychal Green or Anthony Lamb, I mean, you have to go with Lamb. You just have to. Ron Ryan Lopez writes, Iguodala is fantastic on mentoring Kuminga. You're absolutely right. Yeah, and A Pooh. Is your last name Pooh, like Winnie the Pooh? Says drop JaMychal Green and keep Jerome and Lamb. Yeah, I'm with you on that. So JaMychal Green, who again, Kevin Dana is going to be back. We're going to go back into a regular routine with this show next week. Kylan Mills will join me tomorrow for a Thursday show at 11 a.m. Pacific time. But Kevin Dana, who normally joins me on Wednesdays, again, he's back next week, regular routine. He likes JaMychal. And there are moments where JaMychal Green does show enough for me to think, wow, okay, they got a player here that they should keep. But Anthony Lamb with that three-point shot, that's a difference. That's a difference because he spaces that floor. He opens it up for Poole to penetrate. He opens it up for Kuminga to penetrate. It just creates opportunities galore for everyone. Andre writes, trade Wiseman and Moody for Kuz, meaning Kuzma with the Wizards. The problem with that is Kuzma's a free agent after this season, and he's likely going to be commanding 20 plus million a year. So if you make that trade, you're doing it for a half season rental. I don't know if that's worth it, but regardless, man, what a game tonight. In just a moment, I really want to give love to Patrick Baldwin Jr. If any sound comes in during the show, I'll certainly play that as well. But first, let me open up my little overlay here. Got to give some love to one of two sponsors on tonight's show. The first one being PrizePicks. So here's one cool thing I did tonight. I don't think I won. I actually looked. I haven't had a chance to look, but I don't think I won what my play tonight, which was 5 players. I decided to go for a huge jackpot. I made a 5-player bet tonight with PrizePicks. You can bet anywhere from 2 to 6 players. It's such a fun game. Even though somebody tweeted at me earlier tonight that they've been getting killed on there, I'm so sorry. If you ever want advice with PrizePicks, DM me because I'm pretty successful at it. I don't mind sharing my picks. Reach out to me. Follow me on Twitter at DogSurfRoadshow. DM me there. I'll DM back with my picks if you ever want that. But PrizePicks is so damn fun. If you're here in California, it's legal. It's legal in most states in the United States. I don't know what it's like internationally. But again, all you got to do, pick 2 to 6 players. You're betting over-unders. So tonight, I bet the over. You have to bet at least or pick at least players from 2 different teams. So I usually go with a Warriors player and usually a player on the team the Warriors are playing. So tonight, I bet the over on Jordan Poole. I bet the over on Moses Moody. I bet the over on Jonathan Kuminga. And I bet the over on Donte DiVincenzo. I think I got all of those, but I got greedy. I made it a 5-play ticket. And that 5th player was Mike Conley, and I don't think Conley went over. I haven't had a chance to see if I actually won my bet or not. Regardless, folks, it is fun. Go check it out. Download the PrizePicks app or go to PrizePicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code LOCKEDON. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. And if you deposit $50, $25, whatever you put in there that you can afford, they will match it. Just don't forget to enter the promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match of up to $100.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. Make sure to check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast. After us, the biggest stories around the sports world in 20 minutes or less, plus instant reactions, game recaps, and Locked On's take of the day. Locked On Sports Today available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow me, Cyrus Saatsaz, again on Twitter at DogSurfRoadshow. Jerry writes, what does an open slot mean anyways? The open slot refers to an open roster position. So every NBA team can fill up to 15 roster slots, positions. I think you have to do a minimum of 13. The Warriors have filled 14 of those 15 slots. So right now they have an open roster position that they can sign anyone to. And in all likelihood, those two-way players, one of those two will get the 15th spot if Joe Lacob is down to do that. You also have to consider the fact, hey, Dennis, hey, no, I'm not apologizing to no one. Take it easy with the apology stuff. I'm not, dude, this show is all about talking about the Warriors, okay? Sometimes they're going to be critical of individuals. And again, Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb still need to show me they can do it on the road. They have not done that yet. But I'm giving him his kudos. I save my apologies for things that really matter, folks. But I'm giving Ty Jerome his love, all right? But the 15th open slot is going to be interesting. And another factor you have to put into play here is Joe Lacob and Peter Gruber, they might decide they don't want to spend that money because the moment you make that deal guaranteed and you turn those two-way players into NBA players, that contract explodes. I mean, I think it'll go up to about $1 million plus, but then you also factor in the fact that the Warriors are in the luxury tax penalty hell situation they're in. So that $1 million you're giving to Ty Jerome or Anthony Lamb is really like $5 million. Actually, I've heard it's like $7 or $8 million. I'm sorry. So that will also come into play. So again, we'll see what happens. I am fascinated in terms of what's going to happen at that 50-game mark. And no, and AP, I don't intend to attack anyone. I have no hate in my heart for anyone outside of like, racist trash or just really bad people in this world. This is a sports show, folks. One of my joys when following sports, talking sports, is just the smack talking, man. And sometimes when you're covering a specific team, you have to be critical. I mean, look, here's the bottom line. For anyone who thinks that everything is hunky-dory with this Warriors team, and tonight's win was fantastic, they're still a 500 team. Okay, tonight's win just brought them to 500. They still own the worst road record in the NBA. So when they go back on the road, I need to see that from this team. I need to see that they can win road games. They're going to have to prove that at some point this season. So when that starts happening, then we'll see what's up. Niners Stu, look at you bringing up my old co-host name on here. But yeah, exactly. Like Def Noodles wrote, 16-3 on the road, 3-16 on the road, 15-2 at home. And honestly, Dennis B, who writes, "Can you stop with the negativity?" You're the one bringing that negativity, man. I'm all about rolling with what happened tonight. So that's your call. You guys have a chat platform that I've opened up for everyone. If you want to talk about apologies, bring that in there. All I'm saying is I don't apologize except for very serious things, but I am giving Ty Jerome his due. I am on this show right now saying they're worthy of getting those guaranteed deals. What more do you want from me? Ty Jerome played fantastic. Who else played fantastic tonight? Patrick Baldwin Jr., PB and J, Mr. Peanut Butter and Jelly himself. This is a rookie, folks. He is young. I'm actually looking up his birth date because I'm trying to determine if he is 20 years old. He turned 20 on November 18th. So that's just over a month ago. He is a kid. He can't buy beer yet. Yet that kid, who is a first-round pick, a player that no one thought the Warriors were going to pick up because of the fact that he had a very mediocre freshman season in Milwaukee playing for his dad. Tonight, that shooting stroke, my Lord. 3 of 5 from beyond the arc. He also got 4 rebounds, which is something at 6'10", and he's not a scrawny 6'10". He's got some meat on the bones. He grabbed 4 boards, 11 points. Dude is awesome. I don't know what else to say. I'm ecstatic. He's not going to be a star player this season. Might not be a star player next season. He has the potential to be a star player. Patrick Baldwin Jr. Oh my Lord, dude, I'm stoked on him. And by the way, Niners Stu, I'm actually I'm on the same playing field as most of you tonight. So Patrick Baldwin Jr. The question right now for him is, do you start giving him consistent minutes? Is it too soon for that? I don't think it's too soon. He's a player that I would not mind giving 5-10 minutes a night. If there's anyone on this roster where 5-10 minutes a night is perfectly fine, I think Patrick Baldwin Jr. fits that bill. You got to love having him on this team. That is just such a bonus. He came out there and his teammates are confident in him. They give him the ball the moment they see him open in the perimeter. Dude, I'm loving it. Sign me up for some more PB&Js, please. Yes. Trey Underwood writes, PBJ could be a taller Klay Thompson, Michael Porter Jr. hybrid. Absolutely. And I'm glad Dennis B brought up Draymond Green. I'm going to talk about him in a second because he was huge in this game. Robert Bryant writes, if peanut butter and jelly adds about 20 pounds, he could be a beast in a few years. And I don't even know if he needs to add weight, but I think if he just kind of tones the body up a little more, just, gets more of a muscular physique, gets a little stronger. He's already like a really thick dude, like top to bottom, physically speaking, you pervs. I don't know if he needs to like necessarily gain more weight. I don't know if you're alluding to him maybe playing like center or power forward. But yeah, I mean, it can't hurt for him to get stronger, but that kid's stroke, man, that shooting stroke is absolutely just a beauty to watch. I mean, every time he puts up a shot, I'm just kind of like impressed. I just love it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Metal Pig writes, PBJ is the type of player that can get you a sneaky 20 points real fast. You're totally correct. When we come back, though, I'm going to give some love to Draymond Green because the Warriors don't win this game tonight without him. I mean, they don't win 4 championships without him. They don't do anything. This is not a dynasty without him, but they don't win this game tonight specifically without Draymond Green and those huge defensive plays in the interior, because he reminded everyone why he's one of the 3 greatest defensive players in the history of this game. But first, I got to give some love again to BetOnline, and more specifically, betonline.net. That's the website you go to. They're your number one source for sports betting information, stats, news, and analysis. You can get the latest odds, the trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from pro football, the college bowl season, basketball games, obviously. The World Cup has passed. Update your script, folks, but you can still bet on soccer. Here's another interesting thing. Jimmy Shapiro, I mentioned his name a lot. He emails. I've alluded in the past to him being the president of BetOnline. He's actually the president of Steph Media Group. I don't know what that means, but he puts that in his email signature. I got that wrong. I'm sorry. But Jimmy Shapiro emailed me the updated odds that you can bet on with BetOnline in terms of who is going to be the regular season MVP this year. Stephen Curry still is in the hunt. The Warriors are going to have to win a lot more games. He's going to have to come back soon in order for that to happen. I think that's still a possibility. The odds of Stephen Curry winning the MVP right now is 50-1. So if you're going to jump on that train, I'd say do it right now, because he's going to come back in all likelihood in about 2 weeks, and he was playing phenomenal basketball. And when I tell you, when we come back, what the standings are, even though the Warriors are just a 500 team, they could still be right in the thick of things in days, if not weeks. The Western Conference is wild this year. Your regular season MVP favorite right now, though, is Luka Doncic. And he had, I mean, look, kudos to you for, and I'm talking to Luka, for that incredible performance at the Garden. I think, was that just last night? Over 61 points, a triple-double with over 60 points. I don't think even Wilt Chamberlain's ever done that. It was an absolutely phenomenal game. Kudos again to Luka. He is currently your NBA regular season MVP favorite, plus 270. So in other words, you bet $100, you win 270 if you pick him. Jason Tatum is just behind him. Nikola Jokic is third. Giannis Antetokounmpo fourth, and Kevin Durant is now fifth in the MVP ladder. If you want to bet on that, just go to BetOnline, and if you want to put a sneaky high odds bet, Stephen Curry plus 5,000 to win MVP. That's the one I would bet personally. BetOnline, it's where the game starts.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. Tomorrow's show, Kylan Mills will join me at 11 a.m. Pacific time. I think she's in Cincinnati right now. Her husband, Charlie, is from there. So she'll be joining me then. We'll break this game down and what's to come. And then by next week, we'll be on a regular schedule again, post-holidays. I'm trying to see anything in the chat that I have missed. Yeah, Andre, you bring up a good point, just in the fact that Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, all out tonight. So you reference, Andre, you wrote that the Dubs were down 60-plus points tonight in personnel. And if the bench keeps this up, they might go on a run. They could easily go 8-0 on this homestand. Just to give you the schedule real quick before I give Draymond Green his due for a phenomenal game tonight. The remainder of this homestand, there's 5 more games. And the Warriors on Friday play the Portland Trail Blazers at home. That's a winnable game. They should win that. They have Portland's number. I'm not too worried about that. Then they get the entire weekend off. Then Monday, they play the Atlanta Hawks, another very winnable game. That is a team that is disheveled. There is chaos behind the scenes there. They do not have it clicking at the moment, folks. Then Wednesday, January 4th, they host the Detroit Pistons, another game they should win. And that they're going to have some revenge on the mind for that one because they lost in Detroit. Then Saturday, January 7th, they host the Orlando Magic. Even though the Magic are playing better, you know the Warriors did not forget that loss in Orlando. That was a game that they should have easily won. They lost. Vengeance is on their minds. And then they wrap up this homestand Tuesday, January 10th, hosting the Phoenix Suns, a game that I see potentially being a statement game, although we just also learned that Devin Booker suffered a groin injury. He's going to miss at least a month. So when you're losing a star player like that, it takes a lot of the luster out. But the Warriors are still obviously going to want to win that game. given those first 2 games on the road in Phoenix were pure disasters. So I could see them being motivated and rising up for that. So realistically, the Warriors could go 8-0 in this homestand. I think it's very probable. It's very likely, easily attainable. And then if they do that, they're suddenly going to be 5 games above 500. And when you look at the standings right now, the team with the 4th best record in the Western Conference, the LA Clippers, are 6 games above 500. The Warriors right now are only 3 games behind the LA Clippers for the 4th seed. The Warriors are only 3.5 games behind the Memphis Grizzlies for the 3rd seed. That's how crazy close the standings are in the West. So the Warriors, when they finish this homestand, I have no idea where they're going to be. They could easily be 3rd, 4th in the West. And that's where that Steph Curry bet could really reap rewards, because if Steph comes back in 2 weeks and starts lighting it up, and the Warriors are suddenly like in the upper echelon of the Western Conference, he will be in the discussion for MVP, folks. I'd keep that in mind. And just to put it in perspective one more time, the Warriors right now are 10th in the Western Conference with an even 18-18 record. They're a half game behind the Utah Jazz, who they beat tonight. And then below them, the Minnesota Timberwolves are a game and a half behind the Warriors for the 11th seed. The Thunder, 2 games behind them for the 12th seed. And then the LA Lakers, oh boy, I don't know what's going to happen there. But the Lakers right now, 3.5 games behind the Golden State Warriors for that 10th seed. So the Warriors look comfortable in terms of settling in for that playoff spot, but they could easily rise up in the rankings. And if they finish this homestand as expected, could be out of that play-in scenario and starting to play for a real position. Sorry, I've not been reading what the chat is or what's been going on in the chat, but I do want to give some love to Draymond Green real quick, because if the Warriors don't have Draymond Green tonight, they don't win that game. And the reason why is because of those 2 monster block shots. It wasn't 1, it was 2. And what Draymond does repeatedly, for a guy who stands 6'5", 6'6", and you have guys like Jared Vanderbilt coming at him, who's like closer to 6'10". You have individuals like Markkanen out there, who's also 6'10". Kelly Olynyk, who is 6'11", and he's just sitting there blocking them. He's manning them up. It's just a reminder of just what a unique specimen Draymond Green is, and he was absolutely fantastic tonight. Niners stew. Oh, no cap, by the way. Yeah, so 2 p.m. Eastern time for Kylan tomorrow. Niners stew. Dude, Cannon Curry is comedy, because he's got some aggression to him. And Niners Stew writes, I loved when Cannon cocked his fist back at Dre. Like, he does that. His high fives are like hard. You hear him. He always just winds up to just be purely physical. I love that kid, man. I could see him being an NBA player someday, following his dad's footsteps as well. Funny kid for sure. But Draymond Green tonight, I have to give him his respect. And just to finish up the line for him in terms of the stat sheet, again, a typical Draymond night, right? He hit that big 3-pointer late in the game. He had 2 of them, in fact. Those were his only points. He finished with 6 points, but he grabbed 9 huge rebounds, added 5 assists. And Donte DiVincenzo needs some love tonight, too. Donte DiVincenzo has been a savior for this team this year. So I saw someone in the chat write that, Joe, Draymond has a huge wingspan. I'm aware of that. It's about 7 feet. But someone wrote in the chat tonight that they think, oh yeah, right here, Andre, I think, writes this, and this is kind of this is a little controversial here. No, that's not the right comment. Where are you? There it is. Andre writes, I don't want to hear about GP2 again. Wow. Donte DiVincenzo is miles ahead in both defense and offense. I'll give you offense, obviously. I mean, GP2 was not handling the rock like Donte does. He doesn't shoot threes like Donte does. I can't bash Gary Payton II, man. Without him, they don't win a championship. I don't think they do. I really don't think they do. I can't diminish him, but Donte DiVincenzo has been such a huge addition for this team this year. Give him that contract extension, please. Give him a new deal immediately, please. Do not let Donte DiVincenzo go into this offseason this year as an unrestricted free agent. Lock him down. Bob Myers, please. He has been vital for this team this year. He is such a fantastic piece for this team. And tonight, again, just as he's done, filling in, being a vitally important cog in this machine, especially with Steph out, especially with Clay and Wiggins out. 39 minutes he played tonight. He led the team in minutes, went 5 for 9 from beyond the arc, 19 points total, also added 4 rebounds. I love Donte DiVincenzo. Absolutely love him. And I don't want to give credit as well to Jonathan Kuminga, who, even though he fouled out, some of those foul calls were typical NBA official BS, just ripping this Warriors team off. I've gone on diatribes on this show ranting about how insane these refs are, and it's not worth, it's just not worth the time. It's obvious. So I don't think Kuminga should have fouled out to begin with, but he only hit 4 rebounds tonight, but those are huge rebounds. His defense is starting to reach a whole other level. On tomorrow's show with Kylan, I'm gonna play the soundbite from Draymond Green, where he talked in detail about Jonathan Kuminga's defense and his own defense. It was actually very revealing in the sense that truly great defensive players, according to Draymond Green, don't adapt to systems, but rather systems adapt to them. I loved it. It was a fantastic piece. I'll play that on tomorrow's show again. Kylan and I will be hosting 11 a.m. Pacific time right here. But Kuminga in 9 points, and James Wiseman only played 7 minutes, but I thought they were a solid 7 minutes. And again, 4 rebounds in 7 minutes. That's pretty ridiculous, right? I mean, because if you multiply that times 4, which would be 28 minutes, that would be a 16 rebound night. He also had 4 points on just solid offense. He just played solid. He did good. Ty Jerome obviously deserves love. I talked about him at the beginning of the show. 17 points. Was second on the team in plus minus. Interestingly enough, who led the team in plus minus tonight was Patrick Baldwin Jr. With 11 points again on 3-5 shooting from beyond the arc. He had plus 13 on the court. Just fantastic. Patrick Baldwin Jr., I love you. And of course, Jordan Poole, the Poole Party was raging, finished the game, leading the team in scoring with 26 points. His turnovers are not as bad as they've been. He's improving in that category. His defense is actually improving as well. This is just a great game, folks. And that Utah Jazz team they could be a little I'm trying to think what the right word is. They pester you. They don't go down easy. So that was an incredible game. Folks, thank you for joining me. I'm going to go back down to my vacation bliss. Join us tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Anything I've missed before we go? 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, let's avoid the GP2 slander, folks. We could also say Donte DiVincenzo and Gary Payne II are both fantastic. All right, they're very different players. I'm not going to diminish Gary Payne II on this show, man. I miss that guy. But thank you, everyone. What a game! The Warriors are now 500, 3-0 on the homestand, and they sit 10th in the Western Conference. But again, they're only 3.5 games behind the Memphis Grizzlies for the 3rd seed. That's what they finished at last year. So it looks like things are coming together. But again, we got to see it on the road, right? So once they start getting, creating this output of performance on the road, that the title is going to come together. And we're stoked. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming on. Yeah, please do hit that like button. John Shelton, thanks for pointing that out. And happy early New Year. Oh, before we go, I'm going to say this on tomorrow's show as well. I feel like you folks are kind of like a family now. I'm getting a new dog tomorrow. Yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of my dog passing away. That messed me up bad. But I'm going down to Southern California tomorrow to rescue a new English Bulldog. I'll obviously show all you folks if you're dog lovers. So that's my life. But tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific time, Kylan Mills and I, thank you, everyone. And yeah, Kevin, I think the Warriors can pass those teams fairly easily. So I do. I'm confident. Because when you look at the standings for the Western Conference, when you look at who's ahead of the Warriors, right? The Warriors are 10th. The Utah Jazz sit a half game ahead of them. They're going to pass the Jazz. The Portland Trailblazers are a game ahead of them. The Warriors play them Friday. I think the Warriors can easily pass them. The Dallas Mavericks are the 7th seed. The Warriors are a game and a half behind the Mavericks. They're going to pass them. The Sacramento Kings are the 6th seed. I think the Warriors have split the season series with them so far. I think the Warriors can pass them. The Phoenix Suns, who are spiraling out of control right now, 20-16 mark after a terrific start to the season. The Warriors are only 2 games behind Phoenix. They play each other next week. And the Memphis Grizzlies, the Warriors just beat them. That was one hell of a game. They play next January 25th, I believe, at home. So when January 25th rolls around, there's, if not sooner, there is a very good possibility the Warriors and Grizzlies could be fighting for one of those top spots in the West. I don't know if the Warriors are going to catch up to Denver or New Orleans. Those two teams seem really built for strong regular season runs. Could be wrong. This is just my feeling on it. But I do think that 3rd seed for the Warriors is very attainable. So absolutely, Jerry. Memphis, who, what? And Chico, thanks for correcting me. If you're right that the Warriors have a 2-1 series lead over the Warriors this season. Def Noodles writes, the Suns are frauds with no campaign. I love it. Folks, have a great night. Back at it tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Kylan Mills joins me. We'll break this down and talk about the rest to come. Peace out, everyone. Have a great night. Later.